We're getting older and wiser, so we're advising you on how to not lose your husband. We have so much more relationship experience than you. JEALOUS. Hi everybody, welcome back to our channel. Call me Alice, y'all, because we are going back down the rabbit hole of Reddit's subreddit r/marriage. If you missed last week's video about the black mom that is absolutely crashing out over her son's fiance, you will not believe the reason why. I highly recommend that you check that out after watching this video. Today, we have just as much of a dumpster fire going on. Advised to overfeed, dress down, and make my husband uglier to keep marriage faithful.
I have a very bad feeling about this.
Hello everyone, I'm posting to both vent and get confirmation that I am indeed not insane. You might have come to the wrong place, honey bunch, but we'll see. My husband and I have been married for 3 years and are very happy and loving, just as we were in the beginning of the relationship. We are a young couple, both each other's first partner, and both have no intention of cheating or even a wandering eye. The thing is, I'm a Vietnamese lady living in the US who's married to a white husband. In Viet culture, where a 145-pound woman is considered very overweight with too much fat, I, an American size 14, am basically a walking case of obesity over there. With every comment of how pretty I am or how great my personality is, my family would always say that I could be gorgeous if I just lost all that weight. As a fluffy person myself, I have feelings. We're gonna continue though. Many of my Vietnamese relatives often comment on how I was able to nab such a handsome and normal weight, successful career husband. He's an American size large, and they just don't judge male weight as much in Vietnam. They'd even discuss amongst themselves that whether it was my face, my boobs, or my butt that attracted him. I understand that she's from a different culture and that there are different communication styles involved, but this is mean. Someone is jealous, or they don't want to see her do well, or they feel resentment for the fact that she has the American dream and they don't. That's what I'm going with so far. Anyhow, the family recently met again after a long time, and a very familiar topic came up again. Ever since the beginning of the relationship, my female relatives and even my mom have repeatedly told me to dress my husband down, to feed him a little more than usual, while to be sure to stay hungry myself.
I'm sorry, I just hallucinated. What?
I should not dress him in his best clothes. For example, get him Walmart looking clothes and not Macy's quality. Okay, I'm just gonna read. If he's on a diet or goes to the gym, that I shouldn't support him and almost actively ruin his diet. Oh, this is getting diabolical, y'all. I should always do my makeup, dress in my best clothes, and keep myself thin. I'm currently 8 months pregnant. Before I was kind of dipping my toes in the somebody's jealous pond, but now we are full diving into the somebody's jealous pond. This is crazy that you would suggest that somebody manipulate their partner to this level. If they've been married for 3 years, they've known each other longer than 3 years, and if they have a modus operandi that they've been kind of cruising on for the past 3 years, you really think that she could pull this nonsense out of left field and this man wouldn't bat an eye and just think that it was business as usual? Are y'all drunk? I'm also really confused because this doesn't jive with a lot of what I know about Vietnamese culture, which isn't very much. Okay, my surface level research is done, and I came across 2 things that I find really interesting. Number 1 is a site called Ethnomed, and it talks about nutrition and fasting in Vietnamese culture. There's a section here that says, in Vietnamese culture, chubby children are considered healthy and a sign of prosperity. Vietnamese parents may also want to spoil their children by taking them to fast food restaurants, sometimes daily. They may not even realize that fast food may contribute to weight gain. So you've got one end of the stick where people are like, oh, my baby's so healthy because they're chunky and chubby. I found another subreddit where there are people talking about how Vietnamese individuals perceive weight or being overweight. One person in particular says, as a foreigner with a Vietnamese fiance, Vietnamese people are brutally honest and very direct. They're also very curious about our differences in appearance and culture, and they don't beat around the bush. They get straight to what piques their curiosity. There are other people of Asian background talking about how it is very common for your family to make jokes about your weight or to make potentially offensive comments to people that they're close to. I think all this advice is diabolical. See? Evil, really. But they phrase it in a, we're getting older and wiser, so we're advising you on how to not lose your husband. We have so much more relationship experience. JEALOUS. My husband has never given me any reason to doubt his faithfulness. He is much more traditional than I am and views cheating as possibly the most evil thing a person can do. I'm right with him, I get you. He also tells me how beautiful I am every day, so I have no doubt. How sweet. That's awesome. But when 3 of your aunties and your mom are yelling all of this advice at you at a family hangout, it's hard to not feel dumb and question if I'm too much in La La Land and might let my husband slip away. All I gotta say in rebuttal is, look at Jay-Z and Beyonce. It doesn't matter how pretty you are. Please tell me your perspectives. I think my perspective on this is very clear. So let's take a look at some of the comments and see what people say. I mean, you already know the answer to this, right? How would you like it if your husband actively discouraged you from getting healthy and beautiful because he was insecure and thinks if you're fat and ugly, then you won't leave him? As for jeopardizing your husband, what the French toast? What sort of toxic BS is that? Do you really want to be a skinny Viet girl on the arm of a fat, old, grubby white man? Is that a desired image? Is that hashtag life goals? Just because the aunties have no moral compass doesn't mean you shouldn't have one. You know what is right, so do right by your husband and your marriage. A round of applause for this woman or this person who has posted. A round of applause. I didn't do this on purpose. It just so happens that the next post that I was getting ready to read is also of an intercultural, half Asian, half white British couple. My parents have no respect for my in-laws. I'm Southeast Asian, grew up in Southeast Asia. My soon-to-be husband is white British. We're having a celebration in my hometown soon. I've noticed my parents have never spoken about his parents in a good light. There's always some bad connotations. For example, why is she so weird and quiet? Talking about my mother-in-law, who's very soft-spoken. Their wedding traditions don't have any meaning, unlike ours. How dare she just wear a t-shirt at our first meeting? That's so improper. A lot of these jabs are always directed at my mother-in-law for some reason. I'm really grateful for my in-laws. They've been nothing but so accepting of me, my culture, and religion. They've always made me feel welcome and excited to share stories. That is wonderful. My parents care deeply about looks and always dressing/grooming properly to uphold their appearance in society. My in-laws are quite relaxed on the other hand. They dress fine, but not to the same standards my parents hold for themselves. Now recently, my mom has asked me to approach my in-laws about sprucing themselves up for the event back home. These are all things that they're not used to. They're quite low maintenance, and I don't wish to impose things on them that will make them feel uncomfortable. I also don't wish to make my parents feel embarrassed because they deem my in-laws not being proper. Ooh, I think I know what this is. It's called saving face. Last year, I did a review of a TLC show called Love and Translation. We got into some really interesting cultural conversations, and one of those topics was about something called saving face. I probably said it a heck of a lot better then, so I'm just gonna plug that part of the video into this one.
Saving face, or face, is a concept that is deeply ingrained in Japanese culture. Face represents the honor, dignity, status, or reputation of an individual that one strives to protect or maintain at all costs. In Japan, one can save face, lose face, give face, show face, fix face, and even loan face. All of these variations are centered on the personal goal of maintaining respect or the opposite incentive of avoiding shame and humiliation.
If your parents never thought that you would end up with somebody from outside of their Southeast Asian culture, I can understand how it is kind of a shock to them that your in-laws are not behaving the way that they're used to seeing everybody else's in-laws behave. I get that this is a culture shock for your parents, and because we have double standards and we tend to focus on women and their beauty or lack thereof, I do think I kind of see what's going on. I'm very upset that my parents can't accept my in-laws as they are and are always bringing them down because of looks, thinking that they're above them. It's really hurtful. I've tried to ask my parents to speak kindly, as they wouldn't accept it if the tables were turned and they were being spoken of unkindly. Instead, I get a telling off. My mom was really pissed at me out of proportions for a few weeks. Kind Redditors, what advice would you give? Top comment says, give your parents an ultimatum. Stop being buttheads in regards to your in-laws, or you'll go low to no contact. If they don't have anything nice to say, they shouldn't say anything at all.
Don't say nothing at all.
Ooh, she's getting into it. And this is cultural, y'all. This is why I'm saying, like, there's a piece of intercultural relationships or of interracial relationships that you can't see. It's all the unspoken stuff and all the invisible stuff that gets y'all hung up. Because her response to this is, thank you for your response. I really appreciate it. I agree with your comment 100%. I still feel as though I'm in a vulnerable space right now because my partner and I are young and my parents have full autonomy over the wedding celebration back home. I live abroad. Once we're more established, then I feel like I can draw the line clearly for my parents not to overstep. Having a culturally relevant wedding ceremony is important. With saving face, it might feel like if she doesn't have a culturally relevant wedding ceremony for her background and her family pulls out, it'll cause shame. It'll be seen as a sign of disrespect. Y'all, this is a whole thing. I am fascinated. Oh, and this person had really good advice. They said, I know it's awkward and hard, but you really must establish boundaries sooner rather than later. Mom and Dad, I love and respect you so much, and I'm grateful for all of the love and support you've given me. I have always admired you and been proud of you, so it hurts and surprises me that you would speak so unkindly and disrespectfully about my future in-laws, who have been nothing but kind, gracious, and welcoming to me. There are natural differences in culture and personalities. I expect you to be respectful of my future family and gracious toward them. I will not insult them by asking them to change their appearance to suit you. If you cannot treat them with kindness and respect as they are, and if you continue to pressure me to ask them to change, then we can't participate in the wedding celebration you are planning. We will marry on our own. I wonder what would be more embarrassing for them, the appearance of your in-laws or having no wedding celebration at all. Let your parents stew on that. By the way, congratulations and best wishes to you. I win so hard. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, as my future parents-in-law, I would love to treat you all to a special day where I cover the cost of makeup if you're comfortable with it, or even talk to your partner. See if y'all can mastermind having a conversation where you talk about the Southeast Asian expectations when it comes to grooming and dress for a wedding. About 15 years ago, which is a very long time ago at this point, I got invited to an Orthodox Jewish wedding. Orthodox Jews dress very differently and have different expectations when it comes to appearance and clothing than somebody, just the regular run-of-the-mill non-Jewish American in the United States. I asked the girl who had invited me, how am I supposed to dress? And she just let me know, well, cover your knees, cover your elbows. We shouldn't, not too flashy, not too this, not too that. And I took that information and sourced an outfit that I was able to wear to this girl's wedding. If her future parents-in-law are as wonderful as she's making them sound, I don't doubt that they would directly come to her and ask her, hey, sweetie, how are we supposed to dress for this event? I don't think that there's necessarily a problem with your parents wanting for your in-laws to respect the customs or expect the appearance standards for those kinds of events. The problem for me comes from the down-talking, the disrespect, the lack of interest in trying to get to know those people. That is inappropriate. If you're Asian or Southeast Asian and you have experience that feels relevant to these posts, please let me know if I'm right with all the suppositions and assertions that I was making. For all of us who are not part of those specific ethnic groups today, I am still really interested in knowing what your thoughts are. Hopefully next week's posts are just as interesting. As we always say on our channel, with God, all things are possible. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.